You are going to die. But at some point in your mid-30s, you'll feel like you've died anyway. One day, you'll be playing Call of Duty in your pants, picking bits of Doritos out of your belly button and going to the pub every night with your mates. Then one day, you're perfecting your risotto, buying fancy wine glasses, booking spa breaks, and oh my God, there's a tiny human that looks like me and it just shat on my hand. I know this because I'm going through it right now. I have a human spawn now, a daughter, and it's changed me quite a bit. It's also changed my choice of cars. I no longer care about sports cars that feel amazing on the limit. I just want comfort, practicality, and to be wafted along, forgetting about the absolute shit fit that's happening in the row behind me, kicking the back of my chair. With fast estate cars like the RS6, Audi are giving people like me hope that the future isn't full of Nissan Qashqais and all their SUV drudgery that entails. They're giving hope that the petrol head in me can coexist with the dad in me. Dad in me, phrasing. Anyway, the RS6, it does do a good job of blending practicality and supercar performance, but has a problem. Problem is the RS4. The RS4 is its smaller brother, but not by much. It's its slower brother, but not by much. But it's a hell of a lot cheaper. The RS4 is 63 grand. This RS6 starts at 90 grand. So £27,000 difference. I don't think it's going to be £27,000 less of a car. Or is it? Well, hopefully for you, I had the RS4 on test last week and now I've got the RS6, and through the magic of my editing, which let's be honest, isn't very magic, I can tell you. Now, before I get onto that, should be honest, these are obviously Audi press cars, so they're a bit more expensive than what I said earlier. The RS4, 60 odd thousand pounds. The one in this video is 80,000 pounds. And the RS6, 90 grand list price, 135,000 pounds, which is R8 money. That's a 55 grand difference between the two cars you're going to see. And 55 grand could buy you a Ferrari 360, which you wouldn't be able to use because you're up at 3 AM crying with your child. Anyway, review time. Yeah, I knew it was there. I knew it was there. Yes, it's the Audi RS4, the baby brother to the RS6, although it's all relative really, isn't it? That's like saying which of the Klitschko brothers is the biggest pussy. And I think the RS4 looks wonderful in this understated shade of green called Sonoma Green, which is a £675 option, and I think it's well worth ticking. But yeah, I mean, it looks mean, but it doesn't look really in your face. It's still got massive 20-inch wheels, and it looks like a stretched, pumped up A4. I like it. Yeah, the RS4 is relatively understated, but you still get this absolutely massive grille on the front, along with the shiny, shiny red RS4 badge. It's worth noting that for 2020, Audi has given the RS4 the black Audi grille of sportiness, also seen on the A1 and the R8 and the RS6. It doesn't go anywhere. I think it's just meant to make it look like a rally car from the 1980s, because we're living in the past still, Audi. Here at the back, the RS4's aggressive but subtle-ish looks continue with fat, roundish exhaust pipes, ellipsoidal, whatever that shape is called. You can probably see because this is a video and hopefully you have the gift of vision. They are black on this car because this car has the optional black pack, which takes all the chrome bits at the back, the front, the sides, and makes them black. You get 100 points for guessing that. The boot is 505 litres and the RS4, like the RS6, only comes as an estate car. So 505 litres is what you get. I've just found this in the boot fit. Did I mention that my life has changed? It's my little sippy cup. The interior of the Audi RS4 is lovely. Anything that's not covered in very fancy feeling leather is covered in digitalness or carbon fibre. It's got Audi's new infotainment system, which is okay. It's very quick, easy to use, but they've taken away the rotary controller, so you have to touch the screen for everything, which means you take your eyes off the road and you might kill more people that way. The steering wheel is lovely. It's flat bottomed. It's not too thick. It's not too thin, and it's a delight to hold. Panoramic sunroof too makes me look a bit shinier and balder than I already am, which is already quite shiny and quite bald. And there's wireless charging down here. That's very useful. Any car that doesn't have wireless charging in 2020 should be burned. The Audi RS4 is powered by a 2.9 litre turbocharged V6. puts out 450 horsepower and 600 newton meters of torque, which is 150 horsepower and 200 newton meters less than bigger brother, the RS6. It'll still do 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds and on to 174 miles an hour with the optional 1.5 grand speed limit increase. Otherwise it'll do 155 miles an hour. Is it slow? No, it's still stupidly fast, and you surf along on this magnificent wave of turbocharged torque. And the V6 actually sounds pretty good. I'll do a sound comparison in a minute. As the sound comparison showed Sean Connery does sound comparisons in an Audi RS4, 2 S's in the script. It's very fast, and do you know what? The RS6 is extra power. Yeah, it's fun and it impresses your friends, but in isolation, the RS4 is just all you need. And I've kind of gone the wrong way to turn left at this junction. But let's go. Where I think the RS4 scores points over the RS6 is just in its size. It's narrower. It feels more at home on tiny British roads. The RS6, I think, is going to feel a bit bloated, a bit wide, and a bit ungainly. And it's going to be one of those cars that you're going to be afraid of using its power in case someone else comes around the corner slightly on your side of the road and you're going to have a very ugly accident. The RS4 doesn't give you any of those worries. It's just, it fits. It fits here in the UK. I'll give it some beans out of this junction and you'll be able to hear its magnificence. Yes, okay, here we are. Second gear, 20 miles an hour. It's wet. Okay, yeah, it's quick. The steering feels perfectly weighted. You don't get any feel of sorts through it, but you don't in any modern car other than, you know, some Porsches. And you have to remember, this is a family car. It's just a very fast one. And the dynamic suspension is keeping everything in check in corners. You can put it in comfort mode and it is genuinely a comfort mode. You put it in sport mode and it firms it up a lot. It still gives you some body roll in the corner, but that gives you a sense of what the chassis is doing. I've hooned this round for a week and I've struggled to get the classic Audi understeer, which I think might be a bit of a myth these days, certainly in the proper longitudinally mounted engined quattro car nerdiness. It just puts its power down and buggers off. Yet, I can't believe I'm saying this about a four-wheel drive Audi, it does have some delicacy. If you do some nice trail braking into a roundabout, you'll get some movement. You can make it do dainty little four-wheel skids. Not huge drifts, but you can certainly feel some movement. Yeah, it was really quick. There are speed limits and we're not doing them. If the RS4 looks intimidating, then don't know what this looks like, a murderer of some sort. Look at it, it's huge. It's so much more pumped up than the RS4. Looks lovely in Audi's Nardo Grey, and this is sitting on standard for the RS6, 22-inch wheels. So for 27 grand over the RS4, you get 2 more inches. Yes, the RS6's boot is about 50-60 litres bigger than the one you get in the RS4, and that's about that much, or 4 bumper packs of nappies, which will keep the poo off your carpets for about 3 hours. It's similarly muscular at the back as it is at the front. It's huge and wide. It's got the same shape exhaust pipes as the RS4. You might be able to see it. This one's got carbon fibre bits on the back, and it's also got one on the side and at the front. Those cost £4,800, which is more than I've spent on wine in the past 3 months. It's daddy's coping juice. The interior of the Audi RS6 is very much like the interior of the Audi RS4, but up a few levels. We've got an Alcantara steering wheel, which is part of the £2,100 Alcantara pack, which also makes the ceiling fluffy. You get a second display down here, which shows you all the radio stations and the climate controls, while leaving whatever you're doing up there visible. You get haptic feedback as well when you poke it, so it kind of feels like you're pressing a real button even though you're not. Wireless charging's in here. This isn't actually carbon fibre, it's something that just looks a bit like silvery carbon fibre. And yeah, it's lovely. My favourite thing though are these tweeters for the upgraded Bang & Olufsen sound system. It's Bang & Olufsen, isn't it? It is Bang & Olufsen. Turn it off and they go down. And that never gets boring. I'm now in the RS6, and you would think that if speed limits were a problem in the RS4, they would be a much bigger problem in the RS6 with its 4-litre twin-turbocharged V8 with 600 horsepower and 800 newton meters of torque. And, well, yeah, it is faster than the RS4, but it's not faster by as much as you would think. And weirdly, this doesn't feel as ferocious as I remember the previous generation RS6 performance feeling, whether that's down to emissions or just being a bit more of a sophisticated car, and a bit quiet, a bit more sound deadening, I don't know. But sure, it's still mind-bogglingly fast, and your family and friends will think you're a lunatic for buying one. Yeah, I don't know, it's just very civilized. Its biggest problem, as predicted really, is its sheer size. I'm going over a narrow bridge now, and thank God there's nothing coming the other way, because we would have died. What is most surprising though about the RS6, a little trick up its sleeve, is the way it turns into corners. It's a 2.2 ton car and it just darts into corners quicker than it has any right to. Now, that's probably partially down to the four-wheel steering, where the back wheels turn in slightly at lower speeds. But I think it's also just a very well engineered car. I had a bit of a scary moment in the old car, the previous gen car. I was on a track and I turned into a corner and I understeered wildly towards the crash barrier. And it turned out I'd been doing 100 miles an hour into that corner, which was probably 60 at best. But because the RS6 has always hit its speed so well, I had no idea. Not a problem with this one. You get a lot of confidence through the steering. You just sense what it's going to do. And you can feel that it's got a lot of grip across both axles. The rear axle gets helped out by an active differential, which you can actually feel working at normal speeds. Say you come out of a corner at 50 miles an hour, you can get your foot down quite early and you feel it dig in and help you out round the corner. It's almost sports car-ish, just as big as a cruise ship. It's very clever, and yeah, we always say that modern cars are getting good at hiding their weight, but this has got to be up there with the very best, because it's no lightweight. But you could hustle this thing. It's a shame really that UK roads are too small and you're not going to want to take it onto a racetrack, because, well, it's not a track day car, is it, at 2.2 tons? And yes, you've got carbon ceramic brakes on this car, which are phenomenally good and easy to use around town without being grabby. But yeah, I kind of just want to take this to Germany and do naughty things with it on the Autobahn. Again, that would be a shame because it does go around corners well, but hey, there we go. Let's talk about noise for a second. This car has the optional sports exhaust, and let's stick it in dynamic mode using these buttons down here. Or I could use the RS button on the steering wheel actually. Let's do that, because I programmed one of the modes to be super loud, super fast, but comfortable, which is, I think, a mode that all cars should have these days. Don't hurt my spine, but make my stomach go funny. Let's pin it in second gear, see what it sounds like. No, let's go to first. Yeah, I can, it's fast. Did you hear that? I'll stick some sound in from the outside, but it's fairly muted. It's not raucous. This week I was driving another car with this 4-litre engine, the new Porsche Cayenne GTS, and that thing sounds like a flippin' hot rod. It sounds amazing. It's rude and gnarly and violent. This, I don't know, this is like your pervy uncle's smoking jacket, smooth and sophisticated. If you're comparing the sound to the RS4, the V8 does beat the V6 hands down, despite this being a little bit more muffled than I would like. You just can't beat a V8 grumble. See what it's like coming up this junction. Again, you can feel that diff working as I turn that corner out the junction and just whips you round. You could do big miles in this if you didn't mind the fuel economy, which actually, he says, isn't that bad. I drove this to Reading, to Porsche UK the other day, and back, 60 miles each way. I managed to get 31 mpg out of it. 31! Out of a 4-litre V8 with 600 horsepower. It is witchcraft how they've done that. It's worth noting, while I've said Porsche a million times in this video, that this engine is actually developed by Porsche. Audi just takes it for the RS6. The V6 in the RS4, that's developed by Audi. Audi does the V6s, Porsche does the V8s, and they swap them. Fun facts about engines there. Right, I'm going to go to my little quiet road and do some launches so you can see what it sounds like from the outside. First, some corners. Ooh, I'm still in comfort mode. I can tell because I'm falling out of my seat. So much grip. That front end, oh, that's hot hatch levels of front end grip there. That's cool. Ruff. Ruff. Now that I've lived with the Audi RS4 and the RS6 for a week each, which would I pick? Well, the RS6 is the money no object option. It's got the fantastic V8. It's a tiny bit faster than the RS4, but not so much as you'd really notice on the roads. And it feels a little bit more luxurious because it's based on a bigger car than the RS4. However, if you do get the RS4, you're going to get 95% of the same experience, and you're going to save yourself 30 odd grand while having a smaller car that actually fits on UK roads. So yeah, I think I'd probably go for the RS4 if it was me. But basically, thanks to Audi, there has never been a better time to have your life ruined by children. Thank you for watching. I hope that's made at least some sense. Click like, click subscribe, and click the bell icon to be notified whenever I bung up another video. It's probably about as interesting as watching paint dry. I've been Tim Rody. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Just sit here in the boot of my RS4 and feel good about life and the fact that I cannot hear the screamings of the owner of this cup. Ooh, it's very clever. It doesn't spill, but if you suck on it, it works. It'd be a good rally driver's cup, that. We can get coffee everywhere. What else do you want to know about the back of the RS4? That's got to be it, right? It looks cool.